fascinating, isn't it, how prayers can change meaning depending on what's happening in the world. And these little additions that we have in our prayers, they can be extremely important. For example, the text of a traditional prayer that's said in many Orthodox and Masorti synagogues are Oseh Shalom bimromav, Yaseh Shalom aleinu, V'al kol Israel ve'imro amen. May the one who brings peace above grant peace to us and to all Israel, and let us say amen. But a little addition in our prayer book says to all Israel and to all humanity, to all peoples. And then let us say amen. And I think it's an important addition for our times. When the Holy One, blessed be He, came to create Adam, He created a group of ministering angels and asked them, "Do you agree that we should make people in our image?" asked God. They replied, "Sovereign of the universe, what will be their deeds?" People's deeds. God showed them the history of humankind. And the angels replied, "What is a human being that you are mindful of them? Let people not be created." God destroyed the angels. He created the second group and asked them the same question, and they gave the same answer. So God destroyed them too, angels. This is a Talmudic discussion, this is a Talmudic legend from around 4th, maybe 5th century of the Common Era. Rabbis created this midrash to interpret the creation story. This week's Torah portion. What lies behind this legend, I think, is not simply a question of God's intention, but fundamental question of people's belief in humanity. Why are we here? Why does society exist? Why does humanity exist when people bring so much evil to the world? Wars, hunger, injustice have been a part of this world for as long as humanity exists. And early rabbis, I think, didn't just have a theoretical debate about the purpose of human existence. They lived shortly after one of the darkest periods in Jewish history. So they knew what destruction and war is. And today, many centuries later, we can still relate to this dilemma. Would it be better for the world if people didn't exist? They asked themselves. And we ask now. We know that the world is dangerous, and many people think that our generation doesn't do enough to leave the world at least in the same state that we received it. Some people think that our morality is declining today. We build walls and not bridges. People become more individualistic and concerned only about my small group of people. Look just on one side of the story. And I think there is even more to this question. So, later on in this evening, we are going to hear an artist. We'll hear from an artist, Konstantin Benkovich, who will reflect on the important question, what's the role of an artist in the modern world? And I think this midrash, this story, and rabbis really reflected on the idea, on the question, what's the role of religion? And for me, perhaps the role of religion is to see beyond the current time. And I think this realization is embedded, even though, to see beyond our time, even though we have sometimes lived through very dark periods. This realization is embedded in the opening chapter of the Torah. After the story of creation, after Cain killed his brother, After the fall of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, it is written. The Eternal One saw how great was people's wickedness on earth, and how every plan devised by human mind was nothing but evil. So today's state of the world gives us many reasons to lose hope in humanity and think that the world would have been better without people, or at least without some groups of people. But this is not our choice. We are here. The Midrash continues. God created a third group of angels, and they replied, Sovereign of the universe, the first and second group of angels told you not to create humanity, and it didn't avail them. You didn't listen. What then can we say but this? The universe is yours. Do with it as you wish. And God created Adam and Eve and all humanity and the rest we know. But then, when it came to the generation of the flood, and then the generation of those who built the Tower of Babel, the angels said to God, were not the first angels right? See how great the corruption of humankind is. And God replied, and this is the quote from the prophet Isaiah, even to old age, I will not change. And even to gray hair, I will still be patient. What I find really meaningful while reading our sacred texts and commentaries is that there is no illusion that people are perfect. In the Torah, in our literature, in Talmud and Midrash, there are many stories of people committing crimes and worst acts of atrocity, and still, nevertheless, Torah teaches us that there is a way to choose life and hope for the future. Still, there is a call to be patient and believe that a better time is possible and can come. Still, there is hope that we can make a difference in this world, and the future can be better. Another Talmudic legend had a similar conversation, but this time not portrayed as a conversation between God and angels, but a story between the two schools. For 2.5 years, the school of Shammai and the school of Hillel disagreed. These say it would have been preferable that humanity not been created, that then it would have been created. And those said the other way around. Ultimately, they concluded it would have been better for human beings to be created than not to be created. However, now that humanity has been created, they should examine their actions. What does it mean? I think one can argue for a very long time. What would have been? What would have happened if there was no war? If this or that nation didn't exist? Or if humanity had never been created? But we live in a world where wars exist. And since they do, it's important to remain human, even in times of war. It's important to answer for one's deeds and think about how to be a human being. Torah begins with the creation of Adam and Eve, the first human beings, not with Abraham and Sarah, the first Jewish people. Rabbis teach that this important detail is here to teach us that all people are created in the image of God, and there are no better or worse nations in the world. Therefore, any human life is the loss of any human life is a loss of someone who is created in the image of God. There is no competition in grief. The loss of any life, Israeli, Palestinian, Russian, Ukrainian, or any other person's life is a tragedy and failure of all humanity. On this Shabbat, Shabbat of creation, let us try to begin again and find a new reason to hope for a better future. What can give us such hope? I wish I had some words of wisdom to stop bloodshed and wars. I wish I could say something that can make people realize that violence will only lead to more violence. I wish I could find words to convince people that wars don't have winners. I wish I could know when this will end. But we didn't start many problems in this world, but we can make them a bit more bearable. We didn't choose to be born and didn't choose our parents, but we are here now, and there must be a reason, good reason for it. We didn't create this world, but we can choose to make it better than we received it. We can choose to lead our lives and let the actions of our community inspire others to see hope in humanity, to see people behind masks and cartoons, and to see human beings behind numbers. There are many reasons to see evil in humanity, but we, as Jewish people, are commanded to have hope. As Jews, we are commanded to believe that there can be a time when all people see each other as brothers and sisters, each other's keepers, and see the reflection of God in the eyes of others, regardless of their religion, color of skin, history. And then the words of Judy Chicago will be true. And then all that has divided us will merge. And then compassion will be wedded to power. And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both men and women will be gentle. And then both women and men will be strong. And then no person will be subject to another's will. And then all will be rich and free and varied. And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many. And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance. And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old. And then all will nourish the young. And then all will cherish life's creatures. And then everywhere will be called Eden once again. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will.